The last time Audiokit developer Matthew Fecher set out to create an authentic sounding retro video game themed app, we ended up with the incredible Saga Synth, which, thanks to some brilliantly sampled sounds from the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis sound chip, courtesy of Brian Funk, resulted in one of the most unique iOS music making apps of the year, if not ever. For his latest app, Matthew Fecher has gone it alone, deftly skirting the line of copyright legality to bring iOS musicians incredibly authentic samples from another titan of the 16-bit console generation. It seems like since releasing VHS Synth last year, Audiokit have risen like a phoenix from the App Store ashes, leaving behind previous marketing missteps and shonky app coding to become one of the most exciting iOS music-making app developers out there. It looks like that winning streak is set to continue with the latest release, Super NESynth. Super NESynth? This is a weird one. So in the UK, we called this the Super NES, and in the US, they call this the Super NES. So I'm not really sure what to call this. I'm going to go with Super NESynth for the rest of this video. And if I'm wrong, well, I'm sure you'll let me know down in the comments. Now, we need to be a wee bit careful here, as the company who created the console that Matthew Fecher used as his inspiration for this app are notoriously militant when it comes to copyright stuff. So for the duration of this video, I'll refer to them as Bintendo. I should also point out that no video games themselves were actually sampled. The app itself uses real synthesis. It doesn't sample any Bintendo, Super Bintendo, Sega, or Bintendo Game Boy games. With all that said though, the huge amount of sounds on offer and the quality of those sounds in Super NESynth is really quite impressive. Like Audiokit's other recent synth releases, Super NESynth allows you to mix two of its sampled or synthesizer sounds together at the same time. Couple that with its deep suite of effects, controls, sequencer, and LFOs, and you have almost endless sound design possibilities. When you open Super NESynth, your first port of call will no doubt be the presets. Tapping on the menu at the top will open the presets menu, and as always, these are a great way to get a feel for what this app can do. You have hundreds of starter presets to get going with that range from some very playable leads and pads to some great sounding sequencer patches. In what seems to be becoming a bit of a tradition for Audiokit synth apps, Super NESynth features an animated mascot, who speeds up and becomes more opaque the louder the sound you're playing is. When you're ready to dive in and do some tweaking, tapping one of these 4 buttons will take you to one of 4 tabs: Main, OSC, Sequencer, and Pro. On the Main tab, you'll find various mostly self-explanatory controls, like volume and limiter knobs, as well as some effects along the bottom row here. Two controls to look out for are the fire and verb effects. The fire effect works as a gnarly distortion effect, which can add some subtle grit at lower levels. And completely destroys sounds when cranked up. The verb effect seems to be the same great reverb found in Audiokit's King of FM. While simple to control, the reverb effect is fantastic. The OSC tab is where you can mix and match your 2 different sounds. Tap the menu, pick a sound, audition it right from the menu, then repeat the process for the second sound. You can control how much of each sound is outputted with the mix knob. And you have separate ADSR controls under each sound, though you can link these to one set of controls, which is really handy. You will undoubtedly lose hours of your life pairing up different, authentic Nintendo sounds, mixing them together and creating something unique. One of the things I really like about these recent batch of Audiokit apps is how easy the sound design process is. Even those just starting out with iOS music production can jump in here and create something amazing and usable. In the Sequencer tab, you'll find an excellent step sequencer. There's an on-off toggle here. You can adjust the number of divisions or the speed of it here. There is a gate control. You can change the number of steps in the sequence up to a maximum of 16. You can also choose whether the sequencer will be applied to both of your chosen sounds together or just one, which is great. And the super duper handy lock sequence button makes a return here. So if you create a sequence that you like the sound of, but want to hear how it sounds using a different preset, hit this, then change sounds, and the sequence will stay the same. So clever and so useful. The Pro tab is where you'll find Super NESynth's LFO. Turning on this LFO causes the wee guy there to power up, and you have loads of options when it comes to controlling and routing this LFO. You can also select from free, restart or one-shot trigger modes here. And you'll find phaser, delay and quick tune effects along the bottom. In another ongoing tradition for Audiokit apps, Matthew Fecher has once again asked all manner of iOS producers, sound designers and YouTubers to create some presets for Super NESynth. Anyone who's watched my Saga Synth video will know that 16-bit video games and their soundtracks are absolutely my jam, so I jumped at the chance to create some for Super NESynth. I had an absolute blast creating these. Audiokit apps are just some of the most fun synths to create sounds with, and this one is no exception. You can use Super NESynth in standalone mode or hook it up to your DAW of choice as an AUV3 plugin. This is yet another app built on Audiokit's new, more stable AUV3 code. I certainly didn't run into any issues or crashes while testing. I think I've made it pretty clear so far that I really like this app. I think what I like best about it is that Audiokit have taken the best bits from all of the recent synth releases, the excellent sequencer, onboard effects, and the true synthesis first introduced in King of Bass, slapped it all together and created one of the most compelling and just plain fun music production apps I've came across in a long time. As excited as I was to dive into the retro sounds found in Saga Synth earlier this year, as a card-carrying Nintendo fanboy, this release is just on a whole different level for me. Absolutely incredible stuff, and well worth the ridiculously low intro price of $2.99. Super NESynth is available right now on the iOS App Store for both iPad and iPhone. You'll find links to those down below the like button. Let me know your thoughts on Super NESynth down in the comments, and whether you think it's likely that Nintendo will hunt me down and sue my ass. Be gentle, Mario. Be gentle. And if you want to watch me gush over even more iOS music making apps, watch this next.